This week's news from the tubes and F5 Live is proudly powered by Malwarebytes. Speaking of protecting yourself online, whether you're using a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is their strongest protection ever. It protects you while you're online from things like worms and rogues, dialers, trojans, and all kinds of other malware. It allows you to use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. That worked out better than I was hoping. Another way that you're going to need to protect yourself online is from blockchain technology. Sometimes it can help protect your purchases, but sometimes it can be the thing you need protection from. In this case, a company called Celsius. Let's talk about Celsius a little bit. I don't know how to conjugate this verb right now because we're in a bit of limbo. The company, let's say was, because that's probably the reality of it. A place where you could deposit money, just like a bank, digital money, Bitcoin, for example. And then, like a bank, they would lend that money to others with interest, and then some of that interest comes back to you and some of it goes to the bank, in this case Celsius. However, there's a big Ponzi scheme overarch to what's happening or was happening over at Celsius, as alleged in a lawsuit from a former employee who has detailed their beliefs as to why Celsius always was and still is a Ponzi scheme. It's very detailed, but I'll tell you, a Ponzi scheme is basically person A invests money into a thing. Person B invests money into a thing. Person A is given interest from person B. Person C invests, and person B is paid back with interest from person C, and it goes on. Eventually, you run out of money, and the Ponzi scheme falls apart. Bernie Madoff was a great example of a very big Ponzi scheme that included, I believe, the likes of Ben Affleck and big name people. In this case, it's lots of small people. In fact, 1.7 million people have money in Celsius right now. Now, why does that matter? Oh, right, because they filed bankruptcy and have locked all of the accounts from withdrawals. So, if you were one of the 1.7 million people to put any of your digital assets into Celsius, you currently cannot get a hold of it. Now, how much money could those 1.7 million people have possibly put in to the account? Well, some $4 billion worth is what we understand. And how much do they have in liquid assets right now? Yeah, $167 million. So that's not great. So even if you could withdraw your money, you couldn't withdraw your money because they don't got it. They invested it in all kinds of other things, and all of it, when the market, somebody pulled the pin out of that bucket, the sand just rushed out. If you've been paying attention to the price of Bitcoin, just since November, it's dropped from 67,000 to 20,000. Ethereum dropped from 4,800 to 1,200. It's been as low as just over 1,000. Like, the market dropped. Celsius got killed. They invested in other things that killed them. They filed bankruptcy, and there is, give or take, about $4 billion unaccounted for. Uh-oh. Not great.
Well, not so. Is anyone going to be held accountable?
So it's a fascinating question. I believe it's one of the reasons why they've filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Chapter 11 is for restructuring both of the company and of debts. I think they're trying to get out of the legal requirement of paying their users back, which is scary. Why? Right, because they've already paid the big people back. So all these companies that they had other investments in, where they owed a ton of money, like other lenders, because they've been borrowing. It's unbelievable. They've been borrowing from other lenders. Here's your Ponzi scheme. They've been borrowing from other lenders to be able to make good on the interest on some of the accounts when they were being withdrawn. So they froze the accounts a month ago. Nobody's been able to withdraw for over a month. Oh, but they didn't stop people from depositing for a little while. So you were throwing money into a black hole. So that's Ponzi scheme-ish. But they're borrowing money from this company to be able to pay back and issue loans to other people. And the companies that they borrowed from, they've already paid back just before they filed bankruptcy. Like hours before they filed bankruptcy. So, I mean, this is a mess. If people don't go to prison here, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, they'll go to prison, but somehow they'll also walk away with money.
Keep the 3.85 billion that's currently MIA. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere. You know, I am sorry for everyone who's lost money on crypto. I've thought that crypto was a fad since pretty much the beginning.
Yeah.
It's money based on nothing. I mean,
So's
the
ours.
idea of doing. Yeah, I guess it's based on a gold. I mean,
Not ours. Ours
there's
isn't based on a gold standard. Ours is based on
oh, that's right.
trust.
It's off of the trust in the government, I guess.
Yeah.
Trust in the Fed. All
Right.
right. Yes. Okay. But all right. Well, I'll tell you what's based on nothing. The government here. So in any country, whether it's U.S. or Europe or anywhere, the government prints money. Government creates money supply. I'm sure I don't know what I'm talking about, but with cryptocurrency, you have people mining the crypto, right? So they are expending all of this electricity, which is a huge carbon footprint, to earn money for having their computer basically sit there and process transaction, do math. So that's, I think there was some estimate that not long ago that the amount of carbon emission from crypto mining was equivalent to something like, I don't know, the whole Netherlands or something. It was like a significant amount, a huge carbon footprint and electric drain, to the point, and that is the alleged reason why China banned it. I mean, they may have had other reasons, but that's why China supposedly banned it, was that it was a really bad use of electricity. Very, so should we be glad that, first of all, we don't have that as, say, a drain on the environment, a drain on the oil market when people are trying to get gas, a drain, and a drain on the graphics card and PC markets. Now, we also are seeing a decline in, decline in sales of PCs and sales of chips, but in a way, that's a good thing, because I mean, not for the companies, not for Nvidia or something, but it's a good thing for the rest of us, because it's we're finally able to get graphics cards because they're not all being snapped up by crypto miners. So it's and I mean, the companies did this to themselves in a way, because some companies kind of, I mean, they did make an effort to put like mining limiters on cards, but even so, I mean, this was really the PC industry shooting itself in the kneecap because people who wanted to buy a graphics card 2 years ago or a year ago couldn't, um, and because there were all of these miners buying the cards, whereas they should have done more to keep the cards out of the hands of miners and to keep the price gougers away.
That's for sure.
I mean, we might the PC industry might never recover from, or at least the build your own PC industry might never recover from what happened the last couple of years with graphics card demand. So um, I'm glad crypto crashed. It's good for the environment, good for PC market, good for gamers, good for almost everybody.
Yeah. Except the miners. But meh. Yeah. Yeah.
Like any other investment, I guess you should have gotten out while you could.
Yeah, for sure. I've been saying basically since the beginning of it, like I remember being at CES and there was a Bitcoin thing there, and one of our former hosts, John, got all excited about it, and went over and talked to him for a while. And when he was done, he came back and he explained it to me, and I said, "Well, that's not going to last." And he called, our business partner from the other company. He's like, "Well, I got to tell you about this." And Mark was all excited, and I said, "No, this isn't going to last. This is a fad. It's the value comes from the trust in the value, which is different than, say, our currency, which is faith in that the government will back up the printed value. It's very different, right? This
Right.
is the value comes from trusting that the value is there. Well, that's cyclical nonsense.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that
Exactly.
will spiral up and then spiral back down. That's the only way that kind of thing happened, and they're never small spirals, right? We saw it go from like 40 to 80 in a matter of, what was it, 8 or 9 weeks? Like Bitcoin went up, but then once that thing went up, it came back down. So, and
I
it
feel bad
doesn't.
for the people who invested in crypto for their retirement or something like
Yeah,
that. That was pretty short sighted.
yeah. Well, I feel bad for people who invested in this Celsius thing, because, ooh, this does not look like it's going to end well. It looks like it's going to come crashing down real hard, and we will definitely be keeping an eye on it because 1.7 million users is not a small number. We will definitely be keeping an eye on this bankruptcy filing and proceedings as they happen. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course, hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.